Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jessica Rich, and for those of you who are new here, I'm a self-wellness coach, and we talk about all things self on this channel. Self-love, self-care, self-worth, self-development, anything that helps you become a better version of yourself, we're going to talk about it here. And so last week I posted a video about starting over at the age of 39 and why it's never too late to redefine success. And I got quite a few comments that really enjoyed the video, which I love. But most importantly, it was a request for me to talk a little bit more on this topic. And so I absolutely would love to do that. I knew that at some point in this season of transition, leaving corporate America after almost 18 years, that there would be an opportunity for me to share my story just in this place in life after losing my father, making a decision to leave corporate America, starting a new career in higher education, traveling across the world with my I Choose Me travel experiences, coaching, all the things that I'm doing plays a role into this transition in this season in my life. And so I knew at some point that it would come where I would talk more about it, and I felt like I'm ready now. And so I'm super excited just to share a little bit more with you all about what that was like for me, what went through my mind, the process. So there'll probably multiple videos that I'll discuss just different aspects that came to me making that decision, how to prepare mentally, where I was emotionally, and the support that I had that was around me when I made that decision, as well as after I made that transition. And so today I want to specifically talk about what losing my dad taught me about living life fully. For those of you that are not aware, my dad passed away last November, and so it was unexpected, and it just turned my world upside down. And I think for anyone who's lost a parent, like, you know what it feels like. And so for me, starting over at 39 taught me it's never too late to not only redefine, what success and happiness means to me, but losing my dad at 66 taught me that we really have to live life every day to the fullest, appreciate the moment, be grateful, but also that we don't have forever. Life is now, and it's worth living to the fullest. And so looking for those opportunities where you can not only pour into yourself, but you can make your life the most enjoyable as possible. I think for so many of us, and I'm not going to be insensitive, we work in careers and we have these jobs or opportunities or situations that we're in that we're just miserable and we're unhappy and we don't enjoy it. And so I remember one of my friends asked me, like, did losing your dad just change your perspective on life? And I was like, absolutely. It just reminded me and highlighted that we don't have forever. But not only that, like, it's so important to enjoy and live life now because we just don't know. And so just a little backstory about my dad. He retired at 55. Always been a very hardworking man. I have 7 siblings. And so it's a lot of us. But my dad was very family oriented. That's why I'm probably very family oriented, because my mom and dad both are. But, he traveled a little. He definitely traveled domestically, and we really wanted him to travel more internationally. He did travel as much as he could, I think, when it came to within the states for those opportunities, whether it was like visiting us or with his siblings, and then also just really being able to move around. He did do some things, but there was just so much more I felt like I wanted for him, maybe some of my siblings. And I know that we shouldn't really like want more than what people want for themselves. And I do think he had a desire. So I don't want to say that he did not, but like, when I think about it, like, there was so much more that he didn't get to see. And so for him passing away at 66, like, that's young, if you ask me, in today's world. And we think about the lifespan. And so it really left me just reflecting on what his life could have been if he had continued to live, what he would have saw, what he would have experienced, and all of those things. And so when I think about me and me making a decision to leave corporate America, it really made me realize that we can't wait for the perfect time to do things, right? So whether that's retirement, savings, kids, whether they're young or, whatever, you make a decision to have kids, or how you respond to the children that you currently have, how you interact with them, how you're involved with their life. Like the right moment is now because we just never know. And waiting for the perfect time is not guaranteed. And so the truth is, there is no perfect time, right? If we keep pushing our joy and purpose to someday, we risk that we may never ever experience it. And so for me, I think when it came to this pivot, just that experience of losing him unexpectedly, spending time with my family, like understanding what family truly means when you go through a grieving process, it is just, if anything is shared with me or taught me was I have to choose myself now. Me making a decision to choose myself is not selfish. It's necessary. It's something that I have to do, not only because of the experience that I went through with losing my father, but for me, that I have to make sure that I'm mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically healthy. And so keeping myself in an environment that did not contribute to that also played a part. And so I think that kind of contributed to why it was important for me to make that pivot. And so that's why it's so important that we know that we have to walk away from spaces, people, and things that no longer serve us, right? Because we only have one life to live and we want to maximize it to the fullest. I know that is so cliche. You hear it all the time, but just think about it, right? Think about the people that were in your life that either passed away very young. You have to be comfortable with walking away from things that no longer serve us, making that decision, and really figuring out like if it doesn't benefit you, what that relationship or that thing should have in your life. Maybe it's completely removing it, or maybe it's a situation where like you keep that person or that situation at a distance. And so I also think that when you're making that decision to pivot and you're trying to figure out what no longer works for you, it's really important to have some type of support. For me, I was going to therapy, I have a coach, of course, a community. I myself do a lot of things to pour into myself when it comes to self-care and like prioritizing myself. But it is so important for you to be able to invest in yourself, whether it's therapy, again, coaching, if it's traveling and exploring the world, if it's really pouring into your wellness, overall well-being, and then building a community or maintaining your community. Because I know as an adult, in just my experience, I meet a lot of people who say, I don't have community, I don't have friends, I'm not really close with my family. And so there are absolutely situations like that. But there are things that you can do to create a community around you, whether it's, going to events on Eventbrite. I know that a lot of people talk about the meetup.com. There's a lot of Facebook groups, so especially here in the Dallas area, that I see all the time that are doing like mixers and meetups. A lot of those events are free or $10 to $15, depending on where they're going. And so also knowing why it's important to invest in yourself to be able to build that community, have support around you. But when you make that pivot, there's just a number of things that you really have to consider. But you want to make sure that overall you're doing what you need to do to invest in you. And I do want to highlight this point. I've heard people, mention, well, coaching and therapy in itself can be expensive. And I think there's so many resources that could provide you support depending on, where you work and the benefits that you have. There are EAP, employee assistant programs, that will provide you X amount of therapy sessions. I know there's like other therapy platforms that YouTubers and other individuals talk about, but also your EAP may be able to provide coaching, wellness support. There's just a lot of things. And so when you think about community, it may not just be your family and friends. Like your community can be your coach, can be your therapist, all of those things, because I definitely include those individuals when I think about my community. All right. Don't wait for tragedy to remind you how precious life is. I remember someone sharing with me that you have to schedule your joy because grief comes unexpectedly. And when it comes and it doesn't care. And I felt like that is such a true reality and something I have to remind myself. Ask yourself, what would I regret not doing if tomorrow wasn't promised? Is there something that you would do today that you've been putting off for months and years? Would you schedule plans to travel somewhere that you've been saying, oh, I'll do it next year. I'll take PTO next year. And you never do it. Maybe it's a restaurant that you want to try. Maybe it's a hotel. Maybe it's a spa. What is something that you've been putting off or not investing in or trying to pursue that if you were not promised tomorrow, you you would actually take that step in doing it. And so I would say one step forward towards your goals today is better than waiting years. And so it could be something small. It doesn't have to be something major like the trips, going to, Dubai, Jamaica, Europe, all those things. Maybe it's something locally that you can do. But I think that we just have to remember life is so precious. Life is a blessing. It's an opportunity to really live. We all have different time frames and expirations that we're going to be on this earth. And so for someone, you may not get 66 years. 66 years was a blessing. And so I'm grateful for the time that my dad had and that he was in my life and the impact that he was able to make. But I just think about him as a person, the life and the joy that he brought. And so if my dad's life taught me anything, it's freedom, it's joy, and peace aren't rewards you get at the end of life. They're choices that you make along the way. You have to be intentional every day, and it's never too late or too early to choose you. Don't wait, because we never know when that moment will come. And so I'll end with this, and I know that I've talked about it, at least on my podcast, multiple times, but it was Les Brown that I heard mention this in one of like the Motiversity, Motiversity videos that I listen to in the morning. And I'm sure he's not the only one, because I've seen it across YouTube and also the platforms. But he's who I first heard it from, and so I'm going to credit him for this. But it's talking about being on your deathbed, and all of your dreams and goals and aspirations are around you, basically on your deathbed, because they didn't get an opportunity to come to life. Like, they were not able to be fulfilled. And so you don't want to be that person. And so whatever your situation is, whatever you feel like you're attached to or you can't walk away, really, really self-evaluate and think about the question, right? If you could have no regrets, and really, really think about the question, what would I regret not doing if tomorrow wasn't promised? And so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you were able to take away some things from this. I know that for me, it was somewhat difficult to get through, because I'm still very much in a place of triggers when it comes to talking about my dad. But I wanted to share that with you, because for you, somebody that's listening, that's watching, you may have not lost a parent, and so maybe you can't relate specifically to this. But I think about just the people that I've known throughout my 39 years, and people who have passed away, who have experienced tragedies or other things that have been life changing. And so wherever you are, whatever you have been affected by, I think that this can apply to you. And it's just a reminder that live life. Don't allow your life to be a place where you get to 20 years older, you get to be in your 60s, and you're regretting the things that you did or did not do. And when you think about your freedom, your joy, your peace, what does that look like? What are you doing to contribute to that? What are you doing to pour into your life? What are you doing to pour into your passion and your purpose? And if you don't know what that is, what are you doing to identify it? But know that there are so many different resources out there to support you, in addition to you just betting on yourself and knowing that no one else is going to be able to live this life for you. No one else is going to experience this life with you exactly the way you experience it. And so you owe it to yourself to choose yourself. There's no other way to say it. And so hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And so I hope you have a good day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.